Bolt your windows. Lock your doors. Check your closets. Look under your bed. And then prepare yourself. For it's another episode of Dark Knight of the Podcast. Whoa!
I'm coming fast, so got me in. Just talking to hit me up and talking like it's a vibe. I don't know the words yet, but I'm fucking listening to that Robin song. So baby, I get lonely. So baby, won't you talk to me till I arrive? Baby, won't you talk to me? Troy, I needed something to get me into the start of 2026. And starting off with a bang, if there is a release from Robin dropping, there is hope in the big gay world. And I just got to say, right now, I've been cooped up in a bedroom for the last 3 weeks recovering from this fucking back surgery. And all I've been doing is wobbling around my house. Singing this fucking Talk to Me by Robin, and I feel like a young gay again. I just gotta announce it. I know it's not horror movie related, but I know we are a queer horror themed podcast, first and foremost. I know some of the gays out there are listening to the fresh Robin material. Troy, have you listened yet? What do you think?
Oh my God! I listened to it. Robin has been around forever. Let's not forget,
Oh,
Robin had some hits in the '90s. I mean, we're
show
talking,
me love.
yeah,
Show me life. I love that one. That's a good one.
oh
Would
my
you the
God.
R&B era?
Yeah, and then she kind of disappeared for a long time, and then I really championed her album, Robin,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
one with Konnichiwa
Konnichiwa.
Bitches and
Yes, I
Handle
fucking love
Me.
it. Oh.
Oh my God, I got so many people onto that album. And then of course, I mean, she released Dancing on My Own, and it's widely considered one of the best pop songs of all time, rightfully so.
Oh,
And it's so cool just to see these 90s, 80s pop girls still out there doing their thing. That's why I love Kylie Minogue. She
yeah.
still kills it every song, every music video. So seeing Robin in this video, I mean, the video is incredible, and she's just having a blast, and I just love to see it.
She's dancing like Robin dances, which is not a lot of strict choreo, but the backup dancers, the moment I saw that army of gays coming in, I said, "This is Robin. She knows we're in the middle of tough times. This is her war cry." And the gays, the
Yeah.
army of the gays coming in, that's you and me, Troy, at Houston to
Oh
War,
my
sashay and
God.
in. But I really appreciated having some fresh music because I will say being cooped up for the last few weeks, I was able to immerse myself in some pop culture, some new music. I listened to the new is it Zara Larson? Is that her name? Am I saying that right? Sounding like an old gay. Finally listened through her album, really enjoyed that as well. So I feel like I got to catch up on a lot of things. I watched some horror movies, which I'm going to discuss on an upcoming Patreon. Some of the random films I just reached out and picked, The Void, a Tubi, just to fill the time. That was really cool, but I had a lot of time to fill, Troy, because while I was here recovering from this back surgery, my partner Gustavo, a Brazilian, this is important, chose to go on a cruise to the Bahamas, spur of the moment, out of nowhere. He was with me for a week. He was tending to my wound. What a wound it is. It would look like something out of the movie Turistas. And then after a week, he's like, I now need to go on a vacation. And I said, "Oh, okay, I get it. You've been tending to my wound, but I've been here all alone." And I was wanting to surprise have him on this episode because Gustavo is from Brazil, but he's now on a vacation and I am here stuck by myself. So it bums me out because I think he really could have dove deep into some of the themes that are explored in this episode of the film that we're going to be covering. He's from Brazil, he's from Manaus, which is deep in the Amazon. And I just think that this film is an example of why maybe I don't want to go on a vacation right now. Maybe I'm thankful that I did stay home and lay in bed and watch movies for the last few weeks because this film does not make traveling outside of the United States seem at all appealing.
And that's where it gets some criticism, right?
Yeah.
Xenophobia, I think that's
Mhm.
a word that's been thrown around, and it was the same it was same kind of the same thing with the film Hostel. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people criticize that film because it does kind of paint this vision of, "Oh, Americans are gonna be in danger if they travel to a foreign country," when you're probably more likely to be killed here in America as a tourist than you are as an American going to a foreign country, let's be honest here. But yeah, that would have been an interesting perspective. I will say, I wanna backtrack on something because, when was it? Like Thursday night or something, I was home and I put Tubi on and, it just randomly picked a movie and it picked Crowned and Dangerous, Roger. But Yasmine Bleeth is a killer beauty queen. And
Oh.
I was entranced and I watched it. And then all of a sudden, the very next movie that popped up that started to be all these like made for TV thrillers. I got the Pool Boy Nightmare that had the lead, Roger, Jessica Morris. I was watching the movie and I'm like, who is this? She looks so familiar. She was the final girl in Bloody Murder that we ripped on so bad because she's actually fucking awful in Bloody Murder. I don't know. Going down the Tubi rabbit hole, just let it pick movies for you because the gems that you get, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, indeed. And that is definitely something that I plan to, as I mentioned, inject into my next Patreon episode. But I did just drop one talking about my five favorite films of 2025. It
You
is a
did.
new year, so we have to do a bit of a recap. And I did do that. So, Patreon members, please know there's some fresh material, some fresh meat for you, if
There
you will. And there's more coming.
There is, because we need to hop on, Roger, because I did finally watch Weapons.
Oh, yeah.
So we need to hop on and have a conversation about Weapons. Hey, today's the Golden Globes. Fingers crossed Amy Madigan takes that trophy home, right? Fingers crossed. She
I would
won
be
the Critics'
thrilled.
Choice Award. Let's fingers crossed. I want that Oscar in her hands after what happened to Demi Moore last year. Oh,
I think, and say what you want about weapons, Troy and I will say what we want about weapons here soon on a Patreon episode. But to create a character that is a pop culture moment such as that, is I think one of the defining traits of what makes an Oscar nominee somebody worthy of being an Oscar nominee. I can't think of another character that came out in 2025 that had such a cultural moment, that had a pop culture moment. You had drag queens dressing up like Gladys. You had people, planning Halloween costumes and themed events, and like people were so into it. So I think that definitely needs to go into account for the Oscars because it's due time.
it
But speaking of
is.
Oscar worthy
Well,
productions,
speaking of dressing up in costumes, Roger, when you waltz into, Houston Horror Film Festival, you better be dressed as Melissa George from Turistas, wearing that
oh,
fucking bikini. You
and
have
those white girl cornrows.
Oh my god.
You talk about xenophobic. I mean, the way she presents her hair in this is like that token tourist, who's never been to like a place outside the United
But
States, and the first thing white girl does, she
but
goes and she gets those cornrows.
well, here's the thing, she's not American, at least. She's Australian.
She
So
is.
so we can't, we can claim a lot of horrible shit, but Melissa George in Turistas is not one of them because she's Australian. So
Yeah,
bless her
yeah.
Australian heart.
Her hair
Uh
in this is definitely something to be concerned about. Lots of things to be concerned about this film. After watching Turistas, Troy, I was convinced. Maybe it's good that Gustavo wasn't here, because this is a very xenophobic film, and I was convinced that Brazilian people are only out there to harvest my organs. I feel like if I go to Brazil, it's gonna be nothing but babies being ripped from carriages out of windows by monkeys and anacondas. Like this makes Brazil seem so unpleasant and disgusting and hot, which I'm sure it is those things at times, but it's also a very beautiful, lush country. There's so much to the culture, and this takes that and it just kind of shits all over it. So, like, this is an example of xenophobic cinema at a time when I think it was its most problematic. It's this weird little time capsule, and the name of this film should just have been Caves, like, or Underwater Caves, the movie, because I have not seen a film that has had so much focus on like a grand cave sequence aside from maybe The Descent. Like, they really pitched this as going to be one thing, and they deliver on that thing briefly, oh so briefly, and we will get to it. And for 1 second in this film, they hit it. And then all of a sudden it goes and it becomes something totally different. And when you're going in promise something, the way this film was marketed around the time of Hostel, when you were anticipating something, you were expecting something very specific from this film. I must say that this film builds up and builds up and builds up to something you're expecting to happen and really does not see that through. What do you think on that?
You nailed it. This film is not, to me, it's really not a horror film. I don't know what genre I would classify it as, but horror is definitely not the top one I would say. And me, I have a high tolerance, and I'm not one to like, immediately like, oh, this film is xenophobic or this is racist. The problem with this film though, and the reason why I will say that there is a string of xenophobia that runs through this film is because it does nothing to paint Brazil or the people of Brazil in a positive light. Nothing. It'd be different if it showed some positive elements of Brazil, but this film is hell-bent on showing, like you said, Brazil is miserable. If you're in Brazil and you're trusting Brazilians, you are going to be sorely mistaken for doing so. Because look at, I mean, even the very first scene with like this bus driver, right? And we can get into this film. We are talking Turistas. Um, I don't know, probably I don't know. I don't know how I'm trying to get excited about this film, and it really is probably like the least horror-like film we've covered. So I don't know how I'm going to navigate this episode because um there's really I I'll let you. Yeah, I mean, from the first frame, we get introduced to, well, the opening film, the opening scene again promises something that's really not delivered because you got that random gal on the operating table, and you get the famous like music video quick flashes of her organs being removed, and she's pleading, and then it is made obvious that the film does take place in Brazil because over the opening credits we get the Brazilian map and famous locations in Brazil and a song in Portuguese and newspaper articles flashed on the screen saying how dangerous it is to visit Brazil, how violent of a country it is. And then you transition into this group of tourists on this bus. The problem also with this the film, Roger, is the characters. I could give a fuck less about any of these people. And when you have Josh Duhamel and Melissa George and Olivia Wilde in a film, I should care about them. I give a shit less about any of these fucking idiots.
They take, I would say, a wealth of talent in most situations, and they squander it here. And in some ways, it's palatable during certain moments because at times when they're just being regular American tourists, I buy them as a group. They're a likable group of individuals. I'm always here for a full-lipped Melissa George any day of the week. Sun-kissed, braids or not, cornrows or not, I love me some Melissa George. And it's not that she's bad in this. It's just really, your opening statement here really resonates with me because this is a film that very much intentionally went out of its way to capitalize on the momentum from the Hostel, the that kind of almost torture porn, the Saw series as well. It capitalized on their promotional materials, their marketing techniques, even that opening with that girl going, "Por favor," as the doctor is going cutting in door, and you don't see any of it, but you're really sitting there, you're like revving and ready to go, because you're like, "Okay, I know what I'm getting into. I'm setting my brain up for this really gnarly, gruesome experience." And, like, and again, they do it, but I would expect that this whole film would be chock full of kidneys and lungs and spleens, and that's what I was really expecting, and they're not shying away from it. It's not just the marketing material, it's even the buildup in this film. Like, you are really expecting them to just go there because they're following a very standard formula. I mean, in a way, it really is just Hostel in Brazil. This is just a group of backpackers or tourists, if you will, going to a place that lures them in, drugs them, and then in this case, harvest their organs. Whereas in Hostel, they were murdered for entertainment. But it is the exact same setup, just in a tropical paradise. But it does nothing to explore the culture. It does nothing, and that's where
Hmm.
Hostel, at least, it immersed you in that world. Like, you felt like you were in some I don't even remember where it was set. Where is Hostel set? I can't
Isn't
recall, but I love it.
I think it's isn't it Slovakia?
Yes,
I think it's
Slovakia. I'll never
Slovakia.
be
Yeah.
there, so I don't know.
No,
But
I'm
like
not
they
going there.
really give you a lot of that world. They're touring through all of the back alleys and meeting all these weird characters. And here it just never takes the time to give you the upside, the positives, the benefits, the reasons that people are lured there aside from the beaches. It doesn't take the time to establish any of that, and that's so sorely disappointing.
It is, and again, the characters, like, okay, so we're on this bus. The bus driver is driving, frantically. I don't know. He's even really driving frantically. He's driving like a bus tour driver. He knows the roads very well, so he's going pretty fast. And we are introduced right away to the Americans because, again, all of the tourists in this film are not American. So I do appreciate that they didn't just like, oh, all these stupid Americans. We have a variety. So we do have Alex, played by Josh Duhamel, who is immediately an asshole. He's like screaming at the bus driver to slow down. We have his sister, B, who is played by Olivia Wilde, who is a little bit more of a voice of a reason because she tries to calm him down. She's like, "Hey, he does this every day. Just calm down. I think he knows what he's doing." And then they have their friend or B's friend Amy. So you have Alex, B, and Amy, who are the Americans, and then Melissa George and her cornrows is on the bus behind them. She's Australian, and then you have Liam and Finn, who I believe are English, right? And
They're
and
from
and these
Britain,
are
yeah.
these are our core group that because of an incident get kind of put together. And what ends up happening is exactly what Alex fears is gonna happen, is that the bus driver's driving so frantically and, like, tailgating this couple on a motorcycle that he has to swerve to miss hitting them, and when he does, of course, the bus tips over. There's this whole thing where it's getting ready to fall over the cliff. You got babies being dragged out of the window. You got people trying to get out. It is a little bit tense for a moment because, yeah, I mean, the bus the second the last person gets out of the bus, it fucking tumbles down the hill, and they have to go and retrieve all of their suitcases. And we this is when Alex introduces himself to Prue, who is again Melissa George, and you just get these group of people that are just kind of thrust into this situation because of the carelessness of this Brazilian tour bus driver.
Well, and right away, they make it really heavy-handed how they're depicting all of these locals. The bus driver's picking his nose and spitting out the window. There's a full-breasted woman whose teat is out for her the baby to suckle, and even the way this accident happens, like, it is definitely trying to make the bus driver just look like a simpleton, and there's this, whole great moment of the bus rolling down the hillside. It really is a kind of exciting sequence. They do a really good job with it, but it just right off the bat, they're really trying to make it clear these people are idiots. Dumb fucking locals. And it starts with a really bad taste and it never goes away. But I like this bus sequence. I think it was kind of like a high octane moment. Um, and it's a fun way to bring the characters together. I do feel like every character in this group, aside from the Swedish individuals that we'll get to, but every character in this group at least has a moment or feels like they're kind of given enough time to kind of breathe and develop a little bit of a personality. But I think I put that completely on the talent of the actors. I don't think the script is written in any way to benefit the relationships aside from perhaps Prue and Alex at first, though that diminishes during the final act. And then it becomes really B and Alex who become like the focal relationship, that sibling relationship that's explained, but it feels paper thin, and the only time these characters are really charming or endearing is because the actors are bringing their natural charisma to the characters and nothing more.
Yeah. Well, we find out that the next bus is not going to be available for 10 hours. So you got this whole group of people that were on this bus just kind of like chilling out on the side of the road trying to figure out what they're going to do. And B, being the dumb American that she is, not knowing customs, she decides to take a photo of some random child sitting there eating a popsicle or whatever. And the father, or I guess some random guy, I think it's the father, gets like really upset, like massively upset, where he's even physically trying to pull the camera away from her. And Prue has to come up and tell them that you're not supposed to take photos of children without permission. and that the media has been reporting on foreigners that are coming to Brazil to abduct children to sell their organs on the black market. And so that's kind of our first hint of maybe what's going on. Now it's not necessarily the tourists that are doing this, but and then you get this would be me and you, Roger, these two broads just strolling up in their bikinis holding those fucking coconut drinks.
You and I, after the bus rolls, we immediately find refreshments. Like, and how? They're literally on the middle of a fucking Brazilian roadside in the mountains of the fucking Amazon. 10 hours waiting for a bus. Kill me already. Just get it over with. This sounds horrible. But they do make this like quick decision, this group decision to pursue these fucking coconuts as you do. I mean, what else are you going to do, I guess? And that really is what kind of sets the wheels in motion. They all decide to go to this beach. They find this paradise, this group together. Um, and I want to take a moment just, because I think there's a lot of characters to explore here, but let's touch on Prue real quick because I think this is an example here of one of the weaker characters that we've seen in a really long time, which is unfortunate because at the start, at the buildup here, Prue is actually a very prominent character for the first half of the film. She's like the translator for the group oftentimes, and she understands the culture more, and she's talking about her experiences, traveling to different countries and going to dangerous places, and cornrows or not, she's capable, and they really kind of capitalize on that until they don't need her anymore. And that was really disappointing because there is a definite shift where the female counterpart to Alex's character really becomes his sister B, who I think for the first half of the film is very underutilized. B is the one kind of making reckless decisions. She's taking photos of children. She's the one always saying, "Oh, we should take the bus," or "Oh, I picked the wrong hotel. That's my fault." She seems to be like the more reckless one of the two, which is why he's so watchful over her and Amy, because there's this moment coming up where Amy takes her little boobies out, and he's like, "Stop doing that." So he's very watchful of the girls, and I like that about his character, even though he's a douchebag. But B is so underutilized until they need her to step up, and Prue is really kind of like the focal female character until they don't need her anymore. I don't understand why they didn't tweak the script to either choose one path, stay on one path, or kill one of them off, something like that?
Yeah, it is really an interesting dynamic, isn't it? Character choice, because yes, the film starts out and you really do think, oh, this Prue, she is going to be our final girl. You throw that in there. And yeah, I mean, when the shit hits the fan, starts to hit the fan, she disappears. The character literally, Roger, disappears the last 20 minutes of the film. And we find out she's been hiding out in a cave. I mean, that's it. And yeah, so you got this dynamic also that's introduced where I thought that Alex and Prue were gonna like become romantic interests in each other, and it starts out that way, but then he could give a shit less. I mean, it's really an odd character dynamic that I find it really puzzling.
I almost wonder if there is like a contractual issue or something though, Troy. Like, doesn't it seem like they're building it up for Melissa George to be the female lead, and then all of a sudden she literally disappears without explanation. And it feels like a series of reshoots when that happens. And we'll get to that later. But I almost wonder if there's something that happened in the process where they had to make script adjustments, because it does feel jarring when her character goes from being like the female that's kind of calling the shots and making a lot of the choices to of no importance whatsoever.
Yeah, and I mean, watching the film the first time, because I saw this film when it came out. Obviously, I haven't seen it since because I didn't want to. But I got B and Amy confused.
Same.
Like, there's really no character distinction between the two of them. And Amy, talk about a pointless character.
Mhm.
I mean, besides taking her tits out now, because they get to this beach, they find out there's supposed to be this luxurious bar on the beach, and they get down there and it is beautiful, the ocean, you got everyone down there partying, there is a bar on the beach. Where the fuck this came from, I don't know. Amy wants to go swimming, so she does take her tits out there in front of everybody, and they all decide to go swimming. And after their swim, they play some ball on the beach, and then they go and order drinks. And Alex is adamant that he just wants a Coke, no ice.
Mhm.
And his reasoning is you're gonna get what's he say? You're gonna get some disease or
Dysentery?
dysteria. What it
What?
dysentery from the ice. Yeah. because they don't use clean water. And he's also insinuating that the alcohol, the glasses aren't going to be clean. So he's trying to warn people not to drink the stuff. And then we do get the Swedes, Sven and Annika, that show up on the motorcycle and introduce themselves.
Where the fuck did
And
they come from? They just like out
I
of
don't know.
nowhere he comes up, he's like, "Oh, it's good to meet you." And she's like, "Oh, the Brazilian people are so nice." And then they never say another fucking line.
Well, they have a motorcycle. I mean, that's pretty, and yeah, and they just talk about, I mean, they're traveling the world. They drove down, they took their motorcycle down from Mexico into Brazil, and they freaking love Brazil to the point, Roger, where they convince all the others to say, "Fuck the bus. We're gonna stay at this beach and party." And they do. I mean, they're taking shots, drinking, just having a fun old time. We cut to a random guy who we find out is Zamora, who is like the villain of the film, getting a call from the bartender, Camilla, and she is telling him that more gringos have arrived. There's 8 of them, and they are all his if he wants them. And he is like, "Oh, absolutely, absolutely." And you get you get this moment with Prue where the others are playing on the beach, playing ball, and she's sitting there by herself, and you get a gentleman by the name of Kiko, who comes up and introduces himself to her. He's a local, and he tells her that he is trying to learn English and if he can practice his English with her. And she's like, "Sure, sure." So he starts to, give her phrases. And then Alex comes up and they have some banter, and he introduces B and Amy to Kiko. And there's this moment where he's like correcting Kiko's English kind of in a real douchebaggy way. It's not even like a helpful way. It's like he's being a real douche about it.
I knew that lovely Brazilian bar wench Camilla was in on it from the get-go with her great hair. So first, I just want to say that she never comes back into play, but I would have liked to see her again. She's plotting this whole thing from the start. Got all these white people hanging out on this beach, and they're making a lot of bad choices. They're all drinking, they're getting rowdy, and this sweet dumpling Kiko comes up, and because he's such a sweet dumpling, he's got to be in on it somehow. And this introduction of this character, like, I actually like the character. I think he's kind of endearing and again very sweet. But yeah, this whole exchange between Kiko and Alex, like, just does nothing to paint Alex any more likable. Like, I feel like they're almost intentionally trying to make Alex unlikable to start, and maybe they wanted to show, like, a personal growth in the character over the course of the film that certainly does not land. Um, but yeah, just, like, a lot of weird little microaggressions that Alex has over the course of the film that just paints him in a really negative light, and it's not like Josh is bad in the role. He does a fine job. He looks great without a shirt on. He looks really good in a wet bathing suit with that ass crack showing half the movie. But yeah, there's just it's just again the writing is really weird. They're trying to make him seem like kind of a dick, and it just seems like a really weird call.
He is a dick. He's a total dick. There's not one redeeming quality about him, even by the end of the film. Like, he does nothing. For me, he does nothing to redeem himself. It's really the only character that really has any sort of change or shift is B, and it's just an odd choice because she is so unimportant for most of the film, and then all of a sudden, whoop! At the end, they let her have some big moments. So yeah, we cut to a random apartment where this gentleman Jamoro is there with his girlfriend in bed, and Zamora just barges in and tells him, "I need you guys. We have another job to do." And they tell him they don't want to do it anymore, and he's like, "Well, you don't really have a choice. You're making some money. Let's go."
What's the name of that gal in that tea bar? That poor sick woman. She seems like she's very ill. She's coughing. They never explain it. She's just laying there in a thong. And then that guy, what's his name?
Is Jamoro?
Jamoro.
Jamoro?
Jamoro.
Yeah.
Jamoro. I'm assuming there's a J in there with the J, knowing the very
Yeah.
little Portuguese that I know. Um, he's looking like Janice Dickinson with a good blowout the whole movie. Like, he looks like Janice Dickinson circa today, 2026, haggard with a great fucking blowout. This guy's hair is phenomenal. The whole movie, his hair is one of the best parts of the movie. But I'm like, who are these people? Why are they indebted to this doctor? I don't understand what's going on. There's a lot of things that occur in this film that defy explanation, and people just do really dumb shit. But this relationship here, because this is important, Jamora comes into play very prominently at the end, and there's something more that needs to be explored here, and they only give you this one scene and some, like, moments of aggression
Mm,
between him and Zamora, and that's it, and it's like, I really feel like there's a storyline that needs to exist here, so I understand this because to make the ending make sense to me, it seems so
yeah.
half-assed, you know?
Yeah, the ending with Jamoro and Zamora is really puzzling, and I was trying to figure out, like, why that would w we'll get to the ending. So, yeah, back at the bar, group's doing shots, girls are dancing with Kiko. Finn decides to go out, hook up with that what's her name?
I
Areola?
haven't seen Areola. Her name is I think it's Aralea,
Ar
or something like Alea, but her name is definitely Areola, and boy, did she live up to it. I mean, with her surgically modified boobies coming out here, surgery line and everything, and we're here for an upgrade. Like, I like a boob job, but this gal's perky ass titties. She is in Brazil, which is apparently the best place to go if you're getting your jugs done, Troy. Just know it. I know you've been looking into it. So
Oh,
if you're looking
I
to have
have.
boobies like areola, then we might be taking a trip to Brazil. I hope it just ends up better for us than it does these people.
Oh, I gotta have them ready for
Oh,
Toronto.
you boy, do you.
Oh, so yeah, she fucks this Finn guy, and when she gets up and she goes through his wallet and takes money. He's like, "Wait, wait, wait! No, that's not what this is. I thought you liked me." And she's like, "Nope." And she takes his money and walks out.
Boss bitch move, honestly. Like, just not even
Uh,
telling a guy you're a hooker, fucking his brains out. She's a whole like little dance for him. She's shimmying those little hips and rolling her body, and he's all about it. And then without saying a word, she dismounts him, she walks over and she robs him. And I'm like, good for you, girl. You never see her again. It's never brought up
no,
again.
nope, get that money. Yeah, and at we go back to the dance floor, and the Swedes are out cold, but everyone's dancing, but they're getting dizzy because they do the fading in and out and like the swirling motion. And then it just hard cuts to the next morning. These fuckers are all just like passed out on the beach. Like fucking B is halfway into the ocean. I'm surprised she didn't fucking drown, but she gets woken up with a wave hitting her face. And they all wake up and we find out that they were robbed, they were drugged, and they were robbed of everything. Literally everything, including their grandmother's ring that B seems to be the most upset about. She's like, "No, grandma's ring, mom's gonna kill me." And Alex is like, "That's the least of our worries right now." And so yeah, they're all drugged. And then we cut to a group of men, Roger, carrying Sven and his girlfriend hogtied, just carried him through the woods like they're taking him to a fucking barbecue. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why are they tied to a pole, hog tied to a pole? They just like drop them on the ground in the middle of the fucking jungle so they can go smoke some weed. And Sven wakes up and he is able to like untie his feet and he unties Annika. And she takes off running. One of the guys sees this. I think is this the same guy that was in the apartment? Is this the Jamuro guy? I think,
Mhm.
isn't it? Or
Yeah,
is it
yeah, there's a
yeah,
group
I
of,
was
like,
trying to
3
figure
of
that.
them, yeah.
But he like literally hacks Sven to death with a machete. Now, you don't see it. You see him like hit his
Mhm.
hand, but like for the first like real kill in the film, it's very tame. Like you just see this. Yeah, it's nothing is shown. I guess what happens to Annika is pretty shitty because she's running through the fucking woods being chased, and Roger, she runs right off a fucking cliff and and we see the beautiful CGI of her head smashing the cliff, and then she falls down to the bottom. Yeah, this poor woman. She just like literally, she's just running and just right off the side of a cliff.
They really knew how to handle these Swedes because earlier in the film, like, when I said they each have 1 line each, I think there's good reason for that. These fuckers barely get a line out. I mean, we're talking thick accents, limited understanding of English. They pass them out, and then they hog tie them. And so you get very little with these Swedes, but this moment here is definitely, like, the first kill, if you will. And yeah, it feels like he gets the short end of the stick for sure. Like, you expect to see something pretty gnarly, and I will say when these guys pull out these machetes, the visual, the fact that they're using machetes, it fits, it makes sense, and that's intimidating. That's actually quite scary. But it makes this weird choice to cut to his face reacting as he's getting hacked, and then it cuts to her running. And it's the first time in the film that you're like, oh, I thought I'm going into a gore fest. That seemed brief, but that continues throughout the whole film. And then to top that off, for her demise to be, the fall is fine, but to do it with such awful green screen, like, this is one of the worst green screen digital falls I've ever seen in my life. And I wanna circle back really quick to the drugging, because I think that's kind of an important moment. But, like, what they do for the drugging here is the equivalent of, like, late '90s, early 2000s movie trailer quality. I'm not saying cinematic quality, I'm saying movie trailer transitional effects where the screen flashes like green and blue and becomes really hazy, and it's like it's clear they're getting drugged, but it seems like they're like, "We just have to get it over with," and so they just bombard you with a bunch of digital effects, and all of a sudden it cuts to black, and they wake up on the beach. And that was the first time that you really got an example of some of the CGI in this. But now when you see this fall off a cliff and you're getting promised a, like, I don't know, you're being promised a tropical, like, gore fest, the last thing that you're expecting is any form of CGI in general. Like, truthfully, I would, unless it was something like a plane crash in Green Inferno, I would expect to not have any digital elements to the gore I'm going to be experiencing here. And Green Inferno did that too with the ant sequence. Remember, they went with that big digital ant sequence. It honestly took me out of the movie. Well, this fall here, at least they show a really great shot of her head hitting the ground, missing teeth. That looks really gnarly. But the fall is so shockingly bad. The digital components are so bad that it literally, like, I, like, backed up in my chair and my jaw kinda dropped. I was like, "What the fuck did I just see?" I had to play it back. It looks like something from a video game, Troy.
Mhm. No, it's really bad. Like, it is that's what I'm saying, it's blatantly really bad looking, and, they could have handled this death in numerous ways, and for them to go this route was just puzzling. And another thing, like, can we just acknowledge, I just wanna there's an elephant in the room, this film is supposed to be about organ harvesters. There is only one person that gets killed by that method in this film.
Oh, that's definitely a main area of concern. I mean, when I'm saying that you're expecting something this whole film, you're expecting organs to be removed from bodies, and I'm expecting to see it. I'm expecting to see it in graphic detail. And you learn that they're capable of doing it. That's the thing, is when they do it for a brief period of time in the film, it's actually one of the best parts of the movie. I had to stop it. We're gonna get to that. But you're expecting at this point to get some really gnarly deaths across the board. And it's not like they discover her body. It's not like her falling like that and her dropping to her demise and they come upon the corpse or something. It's not like that ever comes into play. You're right. They could have done this in so many ways that was not digital. The fact that they chose to do this seems just like a really stupid decision. You do see it later, her body being picked apart by crows, but other than that, you never run into these characters again, aside from their motorcycle.
Well, yeah, we're getting to the motorcycle right now, but, like, yeah, I'm just getting more people die by guns in this film, Roger, than they do having their organs removed. Let's just put that out
Yep.
there. Yeah, so the rest of the group is walking into this small village. Prue, again, she's our translator. She knows Portuguese. She's trying to talk to one of the girls to get the directions to the police. As they are walking, they do see the Swede's motorcycle, like, propped up against the house. And Alex aggressively goes over and starts yelling at the owner about, "Where'd you get this? Where'd you get this?" At the same time, B notices a little kid wearing Alex's hat. So the group, I mean, here's the thing, is the one that, like, aggressively starts to chase the kid isn't even Alex, it's Liam. And so this Liam character we really haven't had much time with, he's the one that seems to be pissed that this kid is wearing Alex's hat, not Alex, but he chases this kid. The kid throws a rock at him. They're chasing each other through, this whole town when Liam picks up a rock and literally, like, chucks it at this kid's head and, like, hits this kid in the head with a rock. This causes the townspeople to come out, and it's this huge ordeal. Nico has to show up to kinda, like, rescue them and get them away from the crowd because one guy even slaps Liam for throwing the rock at the kid, and He's like, "Guys, you gotta come with me. You can't stay around here. This kid's dad's gonna show up and you guys are gonna be in trouble." So Kiko's like, "I'm gonna take you to my uncle's house. Come on, come on, come on." So he takes them. He's like, we'll have to stay at this house. The bus will show up in 2 days and you can leave." And so he's takes this group and they're like hiking through the woods. They're barefoot. This seems miserable. Fucking Finn and Liam are arguing. People are bitching. This seems fucking miserable. Hiking through a jungle, Roger, barefoot? No, absolutely
And
fucking not.
why are we trusting this man in general, who we've had very little experience with? But when I met him the other day, I was drugged shortly thereafter. So, like, I'm not going to follow you into the forest. But, like, I guess it's the lesser of two evils when you have an entire town turning on you, which I do think is one of the scarier moments. Like, and not to say that a whole town is gonna be in on it. That alone feels xenophobic. It really feels like the whole town is involved with their mugging, they're robbing, them of all their possessions, and I guess just leaving them there, and then once they get to the town, everyone's trying to get them lost, they keep sending them the wrong direction. It seems literally all the townspeople, including the ominous children, are in on it, and it's like, is this really what you think of Brazilian people? Is this how you think it is? I'm guessing there's dangerous parts, but this seems so forced. But it does get scary when that mob mentality starts. I wish they would have capitalized on that a little bit more.
Yeah, that's terrifying, honestly, and I'm not saying that just because it's, like, Brazilian people. I mean, just being globbed by a mob anywhere would be horrifying. It kinda gave me vibes of Eden Lake, like the end of Eden Lake for some reason, this whole scene where the townspeople just, like, descend on them, and there's, like, this moment of, "Oh, shit, what are we gonna do?" Yeah, yeah, I was wondering the same thing. Why are you trusting this Kiko guy? Yes, he seems sweet, but he also was very much there when you guys were drugged, and he wasn't when you woke up. So obviously he was part of it. And yes, my interpretation is everyone in this town or everyone around this area of Brazil knows exactly what's going on with tourists and why they're missing. I think everyone is very much aware of what is happening with this organ harvesting. That's what it seems like. So okay, this scene I will say, I mean, it's fine because at least it gives us an on-screen death, like, but what the fuck is this scene? So we have Zamora. Cut back to him. He's sitting with some dudes who basically he's telling these dudes, "Hey, Kiko is gonna have the gringos at our house here tonight. We're gonna get there. We have 8 of them. We kinda hit the jackpot." There's just this one random guy who keeps, like, looking at photos of the group on his phone because apparently Kiko or Camilla took pictures of all the gringos and sent them on the phone so that, Zamora could see his trade, what he's getting, right? But this dude like keeps looking at the phone and Zamora's getting irritated with him. It's like, what do you keep looking at? What are you distracted by? He's like, no, nothing, nothing. This random kid shows up selling this pineapple or whatever this fucking fruit is on the skewer, Roger. I would totally eat this. It looks
It's like
delicious.
a plantain. Oh, I would have bought
Oh my
5.
God.
I would have bought 5.
Yeah.
I would have set that kid up. He would have been sent home with a full wallet because these things look luscious.
Oh, but Zamora buys one from the kid, starts eating it, and he tells the kid, you know what? In any given situation, the best thing you can do is the right thing. And he said, but if you can't do the right thing, the next best thing you should do is the wrong thing. But the worst thing you can do is nothing. And then he immediately stands up, Roger, and stabs the guy that was looking at the pictures on the phone in the eyeball with this skewer. I mean, he jabs it all the way in. This dude is dead. We're talking this is a public street. There are people like trying to eat their lunch behind. Nobody
Children
bats an eye.
in front of children.
But I'm saying, okay, what was the point? Like, I don't understand. Like, I guess it's to show Zamora as like a horrible person with a short temper. But what was this guy doing that was I'm so confused. I'm so confused why he murders this man in broad daylight in front of a whole group of people. And this is again why I believe the town people know what's going on because nobody like bats an eye when they see this.
Right.
I was so confused by it. I appreciate it because we get a gore
Yeah.
effect, but I was so confused by why this even exists.
I think, I mean, it shows the influence he has on the town, and that is important. And I like the moment for what it is. Like the guy pleading for his life as he digs the skewer deeper into his eyeball is actually really shocking. what I kind of took away from it is that they only transported 2 of the people that they drugged, and they kinda just left the rest there, and I think Zamora's pissed, like, technically, I think all of those people should be back at his compound at this point, so now it is communicated, and I think this was another poorly scripted moment. In this dialogue, it's communicated that Kiko has gathered all of them and is heading now to the compound. And so Kiko has been tasked with this. So you now know that Kiko's involved, which they're very much playing him like a red herring. And now I'm like, well, that's just exposed. So now I don't trust him, and my gut instincts have been correct this whole time. So these people really are all just fucking idiots. But I think it's kind of to punish him for not being proactive in getting them transported. Whatever, it's such a fleeting moment, this character is so disposable, they just show it to show a moment of gore and nothing more. So, I like the moment, it's fine. I'll say one thing that makes me more uncomfortable than in a Spear to the Eyeball is seeing people barefooted. Like, I gotta say this right now, I hate nothing more than not having shoes on. I fucking hate being barefooted, and seeing these miserable ass people, these white people, these incapable, incompetent white people just scaling mountainsides with this guy. This guy has him scaling the side of a mountain, and they're just barefooted climbing mountains, and they're like, "Oh, okay, this seems like a reasonable solution." I'd be like, kill me, just do it. This is horrible."
I feel like your feet would be just hacked to bloody stumps because it is communicated that they've been walking for like 8 hours through this jungle and they're
They'd
all
be dead.
barefoot.
They would be
Yeah,
dead.
that's what I'm saying. Like and it's not an easy walk. It's not like it's a paved path. They're climbing up fucking hills and mountains and shit. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But here's the thing: they do get to this clearing, and it's Kiko's special place. It's a waterfall. It's fucking beautiful. He says that there's caves underneath of
But
it.
not right now. You just attacked a child. Why are you going swimming? Like, I
Uh,
don't need to see this. I've been hiking for 8 hours, Troy. Barefooted, my soft, supple feet. Why are they going swimming? I'm sorry. This this moment was the moment in the film that I was done. I'm sorry.
You're taken out of it. Yeah, I mean, it's a dumb decision. But Kiko jumps in and he has Alex and uh, B and Prue, I guess, join him. Liam and Amy stay behind. So there's this. Yeah, this film should have been called Water Caves. Because okay, there they there are caves and they do get to swim in them, but this seems miserable. This seems horribly dangerous. Even,
Horrifying.
I mean, you are swimming. You don't know where you're at. Like you don't know where to come up for air. But I guess they're following Kiko and they're just swimming under these caves. Every other moment, you have to pop up to this little like 2-inch space to get air. Please tell me how this is enjoyable.
Imagine you and I getting coerced into something like this, and we get to the first air pocket, we refuse to move. We're hanging on to a stalagmite, just like screaming. I would be miserable, and the thing is, they're protesting like they're like, "No, this is a horrible idea. We shouldn't even be here. We need to get to this place." And Kiko's like, "No, no, just trust me." And that's all they go off of. He just keeps beckoning them further into this cave. And they do like 3 times. They go down and then they come up and then they do finally come up in this beautiful cavern. But it is not the juice is not worth the squeeze, Kiko.
No, but here's the thing is like, I guess my memory was wrong because my memory was, oh, they have to swim through these caves to get to where they're going. But that's not the case at all because, again, Liam and Amy stay behind. And when they emerge, they're right back with Liam and Amy. You know what I mean? Like, I thought in my mind, when I got to this scene, I was like, oh, this is the scene where they have to swim through these caves to get to where they're going. But that's not true. Like, there's no reason for them to do this. Even at the end of the movie, there's no reason for them to do this dangerous shit. But here they are. Yes, the opening that they get to is fucking beautiful. And you do get this moment, I guess, where Kiko has a little connection with Amy and he tells her, you know what, I've never made friends with gringos before. And then he hesitates for a moment and he says, maybe we should go back to town. And she's like, well, what are you talking about? And I think Finn overhears and is like, what the fuck are you saying? Go back to town? No, we've hiked for 10 hours. There's no way we are going back to town. Kiko's like, no, I think it's for the best. They don't want anything to do with it. They are all adamant. We are close to the house. That's where they're going. And they do. At least Kiko tried to save them. I will say he tried.
Well, and I like his character's development. I think is probably out of all the characters is the best because he starts to question his instructions from his uncle, and you do see a character shift in Kiko, which is unexpected. But up to that point, these fuckers are having themselves a time swimming around in this cave. You get like a montage of them like, underwater dancing amongst each other, spinning through the water and twirling. And like you fuckers were just robbed and you have no shoes. You have you have a major dilemma here. You have no way to leave the country. I would be Troy, my anxiety, I would be panicking. You wouldn't have me in any body of water swimming about, let alone in an underwater cave system. It just seems like their rationale here, I can't even relate to it. It's so far-fetched that it takes me out. This whole bit of getting them to go swimming in the middle of this crisis is just such a bad idea that it really kinda sinks the ship for me. I don't think any human would in that moment say, "Yes, let's cool off. Let's go for a swim." I'd be like, "No, we need to call a reliable." And I mean, not even the police because they're in Brazil. They talk about it earlier. They say earlier in the film that you can't even trust the police. They get paid off to do horrible things. So I need to know what the game plan is. How are we getting out of this country with no passports?
Yeah, no, they are not. There's no urgency. Again, you were just robbed of everything, including your fucking shoes, everything. You have nothing except the clothes on your back. You're in the middle of a country that you're not familiar with. But yeah, let's take an hour go swimming through these fucking caves. Yeah, okay.
And jumping off
Again, it's
cliffs.
I think it's a case of the filmmakers, had this location with these beautiful underwater caves and like we are filming there no matter what. I don't care if it makes sense to the plot. We are doing it. We are doing it, and they fucking did it, and it just makes the whole thing so fucking confusing. Again, because they didn't have to do this. It's not whatever. So they get back to where they went in, and they find Liam and Amy kissing. All right, and then Finn wants Kiko to show him how to jump off the cliff. Kiko's a little hesitant at first, and like Finn's like, "No, man, I want to do this. I need you to show me how to do it." He does. He jumps off the fucking cliff, and a few moments later, he rises to the surface, and his head is profusely bleeding. So apparently, when he jumped in, he hit his head on a rock, and this wound looks pretty fucking gross. It's deep. I don't know how they know where the house is. Did that not? Because Kiko is out. Like he can't talk. He's fucking his bleeding profusely. They somehow get to the house. They know where it's at. And so they get him inside and the cut is bad. So they go to look for materials to first aid, right? And you get the moment where Alex opens that drawer and he finds the passports of just random people. That'd be the moment I'd get the fuck out of there. You get Prue feeding a bunch of dogs. Like, she
I think that was
okay,
Amy.
there's
Wasn't that
dogs.
Amy that was feeding the
I don't
dogs?
fucking know who it is.
Yeah, it's
At this
Amy.
point, they're all fucking blending together.
Well,
I don't
a
know.
bunch of white people. Again, white people in precarious predicaments. And this is what happens. This is why Kiko gets injured, Troy, is because he's hanging out with these white people and panic always ensues. Someone gets injured. Everyone's panicking. They somehow find the house. And then they immediately go into this compound. And I would be like, hold the phone. We're in the middle of a tropical jungle. We just discovered this building. We know nothing about it. I'm not just going to go wandering through this place like I know the place. I'm not gonna get shot by somebody. They seem very casual as they approach this place, and of course, they're with him, they're wanting to take care of him, but you get this whole big thing of the gals walking through, and Amy goes to feed those fucking dogs. That would be the last of my concerns is feeding this person's dogs. They'll take care of that when they return, because 'cause I'm sure these people are gonna return. That's your concern right now, not feeding the fucking dogs or having a dinner. I mean, I'm sure you're hungry, but still I would be concerned about who's coming back here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. Yeah, she feeds the dogs, feeding them and the dogs are of course they're thrilled, they're getting food. Yeah, Prue's not the one. Prue is the one going through the drawer finding the all the fucking medicine. Like this place is loaded up with like morphine and codeine and Finn comes out with a fucking staple gun. And this made me like cringe.
Yeah.
Like, oh god. He literally like a staple gun. Like we're talking a staple gun that you use for like construction. He literally fucking staples Kiko's head wound.
Oh, it's an ass clencher. I'll say, like, this film doesn't deliver on a lot of the gore, but this and a couple other moments is actually pretty graphic. It really made my ass clench.
Oh, no, yeah. Staple and, of course, Kiko freaks out, and he gets up and runs into the bedroom and, like, lays down. Okay, so I get later that night, they just all go to sleep except Alex. Alex is up watching these security monitors, and all of a sudden, you hear helicopters, and the dogs start to go wild, and so everyone wakes up hearing this, and they go outside, and, a random bunch of people. This helicopter lands, a random bunch of people get off, Zamora's there, you have all these fucking people carrying supplies in, and the group is like, "What's going on?" And Kiko's like, "Well, that's my uncle." And one of the nurses approaches a flabbergasted Alex and, B and tell them, "You guys need to run. Immediately, get the fuck out of here. That guy has some fucked up plans for you and your friend." And shit just erupts into chaos, Roger, because they all these henchmen go in the house, they push Finn to the floor. Uh, Kiko takes off running into the woods to leave them there, and Alex is calling after him. "Where did you bring us? What the fuck did you do, Kiko?" And then he's like hitting the leg with a club, and it's just goes into. I mean, this wastes no time, just like transitioning into chaos. And to me, it's not very horror movie like. Like, is it? These people do, there's no suspense,
No.
there's no buildup, there's no, element of surprise. It's just like, here's the helicopter, here's the doctor and all the nurses that are going to operate on you. That's what we get.
Well, I first want to acknowledge that they're sleeping in a place where there's mosquito nets over the beds, and that alone, like, absolutely fucking not get me out of this place. I would never be caught dead there. So I just want to state that. Once the helicopter moment hits, I like the bit of him sitting there, like, watching the monitors, and you start to see the lights coming down and everything. It's intense, but it's much too brief. Like, this moment, like, the level of intensity, it makes me think of one of my favorite films that we've covered, The Invitation. I fucking love it.
Mm.
Karen Kusuma. The moment when the big revelation happens towards the final act of the film. And you know how they make that a moment, Troy. It goes into slow motion. People are screaming, people are getting killed, bodies are dropping, and they let it linger. Like they really take the moment in. Here, they start building to a fever pitch. It starts to get really shocking. The girls are all getting grabbed by the hair, Prue's grabbed by the cornrows, and then it cuts to black. And I'm like, "No, this is what I want. Show the attack on the house." I understand this is this guy's property now. I don't know who these gals are walking in. The one girl, the one nurse is, I believe, the girl in the white T-bar from earlier, wearing the outfit from, the Den Pit. That gal. I'm pretty sure that's her, right?
I think so. I think so.
Who the fuck is she
Yeah,
though? Like, why is she
I
there?
apparently a nurse, apparently. I don't know. Like, it's yeah, it happens so quick. And again, there's no suspense, there's no buildup. It is chaotic. I would be shitting my pants. And the second that nurse told me to run, Roger, I would have fucking ran.
Into the
They just
into the
stand
night.
there looking like fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And yeah, it cuts to black, and then the very next scene, we don't know how this happened. We don't know where they drug, but Amy is on the operating table. The others are in cages outside. We don't see any of this happen. It just, it just is. So Amy's on the operating table. Everyone else is tied outside in the cages with the dogs. Zamora tells Amy that he's doing this for a good cause. He's like, "I hope you know that in America, there's a 7-year wait for a healthy heart." So he's like, "You rich gringos, you come to my country, and if you need a kidney, you come here because you certainly have no qualms. You gringos certainly have no qualms taking advantage of our poverty by paying us a significant amount of money to do what we're doing. That's why we're doing it. I've had enough. So here's my own little operation." So he literally starts like cutting into her, and this is the only organ harvesting scene we see. And I'm gonna say it's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
It's I mean, he's taking everything. I mean, fallopian tubes, I don't fuck
He pulls out a lung at one point. Like, this poor gal, and she's awake through it. You gotta note that, Troy. Like, she's heavily sedated, but you see her responding to it. That's really shocking. I had to pause this moment multiple times throughout the process of watching it because it is, for as bad as this film can be, this does for a moment it hits its stride here. And even after she is completely dispatched, the events that take place when Finn becomes sedated, even building into that, I kind of really like where this starts to go. Now it drops the ball when you get back to the goddamn caves, where we're there for like 20 minutes floating around in the caves again. But there is a moment here that I feel like this starts to find its footing, and I've been needing that to happen. But I mean, tell me that the transition here to Amy on the table just it does it not feel like it's just completely missing a moment? Like, her running from the house and getting chased down by those guys or something, like, feels like for her to just come up unconscious. She was conscious, she was sitting at the table, she was sitting there looking around, and all of a sudden she's knocked out. Show it happen. I deserve to see that.
why her? Why was she picked first?
Right.
Why are the other ones put out into cages? How are they put we don't see any of it. It does seem very much like a cheat.
Yeah.
But it is really brutal. We have to acknowledge Finn is tied there watching this all
Oh.
happen. And I would be like, "Fuck, this
Oh.
is" yeah, because you're just sitting there knowing you're next, like, this is gonna happen to you.
Her belly button
Um,
ring getting removed, Troy.
Ripped out.
Oh
I
my
know.
god.
Now, outside, again, they're all in different cages next to each other, the rest of the group.
Yeah.
Now, the back earlier when Alex was going through the drawers to look for supplies and he found all those passports, he did find a pocket knife that he puts in his pocket. Well, at this moment, he takes that pocket knife out and gives it to B and tells her to start cutting the ropes because their hands and feet are
'Cause
tied.
she does that full, like, extension.
Yeah.
The flexibility on display here is astonishing, where she just, like, dislocates her spine and pushes her legs through her arms. I'm like, "God, this girl is formidable. I didn't know B could do that."
Well, she does, and she cuts herself loose, and she's able to then pass the knife on, and everyone's cutting themselves loose. Inside Zamora, he is completely eviscerated Amy. I mean, she's there, her stomach's nothing is left inside of her. He is taking all the organs from them. He's basically narrating this to Finn, basically like, you're next. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm taking all your guys' organs, and we're giving them to a hospital in Rio. After he's finished with Amy, he's like, "Yeah, this dude's next, but you guys gotta go outside and get the others to get them ready." So, one of his henchmen goes outside, goes to the cage to, approach Prue, and she, attacks him. She's able to attack him and stab him.
Didn't acknowledge, though, that that henchman, right before he goes out there, is just fucking a woman in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean
He's just well, again, presenting Brazilian people like fucking animals. This guy just is banging this woman in the open. He's supposed to be on duty. He's just banging a random woman in this house. I don't even know where this gal came from. And the doctor comes out after brutally removing that spleen. Those effects are so good. We should talk about them.
Yeah.
But he comes out there, he's like, go get them. And like this guy's just banging this woman. Who does that? Like in an open
Well,
room for anyone to see.
you in your 20s?
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
come on.
That would have been me. I'm bagging her. Let me finish. But Troy, let's talk about this moment here with Finn, because overall, this is not going to be one of our longest reviews. I can say that right now. But this is the moment everyone's waiting for. And I do have to say that once you get to this shot over top her with her little boobies out, and you
Oh,
see the cavity in her body, knowing that the makeup team on this film has the ability to pull off this scale of effects. When he's pulling the organs out, they're throbbing. They're still pumping. You see things squirting, and it's so good and it's so prolonged. It's kind of like, how fucking dare you? You're gonna give us this, and then the rest of this after this is just people getting stabbed with arrows in caves. It's just it seems like a waste of talent and promise. They promised a concept, they promised they were gonna deliver on something, and it's not like they can't even do it. It's not like this is some little underground indie with nothing but, sausage casings filled with jello. These are amazing practical effects here, and they're pulling them off, and then they never deliver on it again. It almost feels like a slap in the face to a horror fan.
It is. But again, I agree with you though. This whole effect is really effective, and there should have been more of this. This is the only scene of someone getting their organs removed that we have in the entire film, and the premise of the film is organ harvesting. You know, it just at this point after Amy is dead. I This is when the film becomes an action film. I view this as like a Rambo or like Commando or something. It's just action. It's not horror. Yeah, I mean, because Prue is able to kill that guy. She stabs him. And another guy comes up with a gun and is going to shoot them when all of a sudden Kiko comes up behind him and hacks him with a machete. So Kiko is trying to save the day. He's been trying. If they would have just fucking listened to him and not gone to this house, none of this would have happened. So Kiko kills this guy. They try to dig Liam out of his cage. He's in a cage, so they dig him out, get him out of there. He says he's not leaving Finn, so he wants to go back into the house. Alex is like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Fine. He tells B and Prue to take off, go to the waterfall. We'll meet you there. Inside, Finn, it's too late because the nurse is injecting a pleading Finn with the sedatives.
Give him a kiss
So,
on
or
the
the,
lips before she does it.
oh, she does. Yeah, well, she's trying to make it easier for him. Yeah. So Leon comes in and he points the gun at this broad and he tells her to stay back. Outside, Zamora goes outside to see what's taking so long. He finds his dead henchman there laying in the cages. B and Prue are running into the woods as that archer guy, the guy with the bow and arrow, is chasing them.
The hot,
Um,
the only one that's actually hot. But boy, is he
yes.
hot.
Oh, he is. Yeah, so Liam and Liam gets Finn up, and now again Finn is completely out of it. He's been sedated. He's trying to get him out a window. Jamoro is there watching the monitors, and he sees them on the monitors, like trying to get out this window. And he goes into this room to shoot them. Liam shoots first. He's able to get everybody out the window. B and Prue are still being pursued. There's that moment where they're hiding in some weeds, and the guy's right above them. He doesn't see them, thank God. And then I mean, so Kiko, Liam, and Finn have gotten out of the house. They're hiding under the porch. Jamoro is above them. He hears them below him, and he's going to shoot down through the floorboards when all of a sudden Liam sticks that blade up through the crack and like slices right through Jamoro's foot. It looks painful. It is painful. The three of them get out from under the porch. They take off running. Just like that, though, Jamoro on the porch shoots fucking Finn, blows half his head off.
I gotta say, this whole buildup though, for as many hiccups as we've hit along the way, this is probably my favorite stretch of the film. The escape from the house. Up to this moment, it does get really intense. The moment of Alex opening up the window because they're trying to, get them out of the house through one of the windows, and he climbs in through the window and he sees Amy's body, gutted body. So you get another visual of that, and there's just all this chaos that's starting to hit. And, you've got the moment of Liam busting into the lab with the gun and holding the nurse up with the gun and then picking up his friend, and, like, I like this about this character, the fact he goes back for his friend because 'cause they've been together this whole time, and you understand they have a close friendship. That is one thing that is developed, that relationship between these 2 characters. I think that's admirable, and Troy, one thing I love in horror movies is when someone's fucking sedated trying to defend themselves. Halloween 2, I can watch Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis waddling around in a hospital, sedated on drugs all night long. I think it's terrifying. And so this whole bit of them trying to get Finn out through the window and he's completely drugged up. Dude shows up with the gun, they're firing at each other. I actually think it hits a great stride here. Even up to this moment where Finn is shot in the head. It's a great effect, and the dude is firing at them, and he's wounded in the foot, so he's pissed off. It's a really good effect, but so quickly it does lose steam. Because what happens here with specifically with Liam's character, it's Finn that gets shot in the head, correct? Finn gets shot in the head.
Yes.
Liam gets butted in the head with the gun. But I don't, in my opinion, we do not see Liam die. We see Liam get shot in the leg. It's a great effect. He's firing back. He's like, fuck you. It's really intense. And then the dude walks up, Janice Dickinson walks up, butts him to the head. He drops. I think he's still in the house alive. They just leave him. You never see him again. And I'm like, is this how this guy died? Because I don't think this guy is dead.
They drag his body away, but Roger, my big problem,
Mhm.
and you know this, you know I hate this.
Guns.
Guns in a slasher movie. This is
Yeah.
supposed to be a slasher movie.
Yeah.
Let's this is how that's how it was advertised.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend it wasn't. Two characters are taken out with guns.
Yeah.
I hate it with a fucking passion. Again, I'm gonna use this word again, it's a cop out,
Yeah.
especially with a character like Finn, who has I'm not saying Finn has been a prominent character, but he kinda has been.
Yes.
He kinda has been.
Yeah, he has.
He's kinda like the comic relief, he's been pretty vocal throughout the film, and then just to have him be killed by being sedated and having half his head blown off, give me a fucking break. But that's not even the worst part of it, because here we go. We don't even know. We cut to daylight. It's daylight. It's the next day. B is washing up in a river.
Alone.
Yeah. She hears someone approaching her, and she sees a foot kind of step on a rock above her, and she immediately bashes the foot. And we find out it's Alex and Kiko.
Mhm.
They're there. At least they came back. It makes sense because he told them to go to the waterfall. But there's no moment here. There's really no moment of anything because right away the killers show up. So they don't have any choice except for Kiko to lead them back into the water through the caves. While they're swimming through these caves, Roger, who do they run into?
Oh, we got a whole thing to dissect here. Speaking about a movie about harvesting and dissecting organs, let's dissect this plot development. Because Troy, the last time that we saw Prue was the shot of her getting chased through the woods because that guy was hunting the boar. Then the guy saw them escaping into the woods and pursued them. And then it cut to that moment of B specifically hiding under that log, getting covered in fire ants. There's that moment of her getting covered in ants, and he almost finds her, but then he hears the attack back where Janice Dickinson got her foot cut. So he goes back to the house. You do not see Prue in that moment. The last time you see Prue, she's running and B is right on her heels keeping up with her and the guy's pursuing them. You never see a moment of them getting separated. You never see what happens to Prue, where she goes. All of a sudden it's just B, and it really feels like an insert because the rainfall, the lighting, it feels like a different moment. She hides under that log, she has that whole sequence. Prue is gone right now. You are not following her storyline. You're thinking it's gonna build up to some big reveal where she's gonna step in and save the day, take out one of the guys unexpectedly, something like that. This whole bit of them jumping back into the water and having to go back through the caves with Kiko is already kind of an awkward development because, like you said, there's this moment where he basically informs B that Amy is dead. She like starts to mourn and they have to keep moving. They jump in the water, they start swimming. They pop up for air and like Prue is just hanging out there, like cowering. And I'm like, bitch, this gal's been the one who's been like kind of leading the way up to this point. Like even up to the point where he entrusted her to take his sister back to the waterfall. It felt like B was the one in charge. She was the one that got that dude restricted down so they could start tying him, because he was gonna basically, I guess, just go out and rape her in the middle of that monsoon, and then she starts kicking him and fighting him, and, and she's really, like, kicking some ass. For her to just pop up like this in such a, like, not ceremonious moment, such like a lackluster moment. Like, why did they even get rid of her? Why couldn't both girls have just stayed together? There's nothing that happens in the storyline other than removing Melissa George from the equation. It almost feels like they had to get her off set early or something. It really does because it doesn't make any sense why she's gone out of nowhere.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, I've just been here all night." Why would you leave B by herself?
Right.
It's like, yeah, she just, so yeah, she's just hiding out in these caves. So there's lots of swimming and them coming up for air. And there's this moment where they get to the cave, the big opening cave opening underwater, and I guess Alex randomly decides to attack Kiko?
What the fuck is this? In the middle of in, like, mid-swim. After Kiko
Yeah.
gets them up, he just jumps up and starts punching him. I'm like, "Dude, this guy's gotta get you back to the town. You were wandering for 10 hours, or so you said, in the jungle. Like, you're not gonna be able to find your way back through the Amazon. You need this guy, and why are you fucking attacking him?" I get it. He's pissed off. He obviously lured them there, but right now, he's working in your favor. This is the worst call. And then what happens after this, Troy, where again, the doctor and his henchmen show up and they fire at them. They hit Alex in the hand, and then they hit Kiko in the neck, and Kiko is just unceremoniously killed by his uncle. And it's like, what the fuck? This character who's gone probably through the most development and evolution, you have the lead guy beat his ass in the water, and then you just kill him. I really feel like Kiko deserved to have more of a moment going out stronger, don't you think?
Abso-fucking-lutely. He's just shot dead, you know? And the others have to get in back under the water, and you get this this goes on forever. They're
Ugh.
swimming. No, I mean, it gets to be a little claustrophobic, because they don't again, these guys, they don't know where they're at. They don't know this whole cave system. So they have to they're struggling to figure out where to come up for air. They're all underwater now because Zamora gets into the water, the archer guy gets under the water, they're swimming after each other. Bees there, everyone's there. There's the moments where they're like going up to the surface and like sucking air pockets. Roger, I would just die. I would just let myself die. I'm not doing this bullshit. I'm just let me sink to the bottom of the fucking.
We would have died
I'm
so
not.
much earlier in this film. We're the missing organ harvesting that was meant to happen. That was us. They just cut our scenes. That's why there's no organs being harvested in this film. But yeah, no, like by the time they're sucking air pockets off of cavern ceilings, like I'm like, this fuck this nonsense. And it goes on and on. And some of it's beautiful. Some of the shots, some of the underwater shots are some of the best footage in the film, I would say. It's really lovely to look at, but it's just not what I came here for. And this dude, this hot fucking dude, like he's too pretty to be intimidating. And he's got that bow and arrow, but he never gets to use it. He's just chasing people around. People are getting separated. B's on her own. Then he shows up and starts fighting with B. And B, who's been really an incompetent mess this entire time, like B's not really done anything. All of a sudden, B gets to have like the power move and take this dude out with his arrow, Troy. This really felt like something that should have been reserved for Melissa George, braids and all. Prue really deserved to have this moment, especially after getting rid of her for so long. It feels so weird that B is the one that steps up when she's not done anything up to this point to make her seem like she'd be capable of doing something like this.
No, she seems to be like having a fucking panic attack. She even
Understandable.
drops her. Well, yes, but I mean, she drops her flashlight.
Yeah.
She drops her flashlight. But yeah, when the guy comes and attacks her, and she's able to pull one of his arrows out of his quill and stab him in the neck. Um, and Alex gets to her right afterwards, and they're able to swim to some more land to get to land. Zamora suddenly approaching them with Jamoro, and he sees something. He sees movement, so he fires his gun. Zamora does, causing B to scream. So now Zamora definitely knows where they're at. So he's huffing over there, and Alex again. Can we talk about like no? There's no buildup. There's no suspense. There's no Alex just literally like jumps on him and knocks him to the ground and takes that fucking boulder and smashes it into his head. And the gal's now Prue's there. Where the fuck has she been? She's there now. There's like, oh, stop, stop. First of all, why would you fucking tell him to stop? This guy just cut the organs out of your best friend, and I would want this dude dead. Like smash his fucking head with the boulder.
Why would you ever tell him to stop? At least he's shirtless when he does it. I'll say that. Because he's been shot in the hand, at one point B gets his shirt off of him and wraps his hand with it. So at least Josh Duhamel is now shirtless for the final act of the film. The one benefit. And they're in the caves, they're not in the water anymore, but they're hiding amongst stalagmites. And again, I'm like, how did we get here? This is not what I expected. But you're anticipating, I think, a big final showdown, something. I mean, they just gutted their friend and killed a bunch of other people. Like, you expect this big moment. And Troy, the only thing I can compare this to is, so, at the start of my film career, I was in a lot of really bad movies, and I was in a film, and I'm hesitant to say the name, maybe I'll say it, but I was in a movie that we shot over a period of years that, like, eventually we just gave up on the script and, like, they were just making it up as they went, and this was not my film, I was just in it, but I kept having to come back for more and more because they kept having to rewrite things and come up with things in the moment, and they're like, "Okay, today we're just gonna kill this character, we gotta kill him, we don't have any more time with them, so, we're just gonna beat him in the head with a foam rock." And we're just gonna let's just just jump out and we'll kill him. And well, that's what we're gonna do, and that's what we did. We just beat the character in the head with a foam rock. We got him on set, killed him, got him done. And it really feels like at this point that things have gone so off the rails with Turistas that they don't have a script anymore. They're in these caves. That's all they've got left. They've got a day left in the caves. Melissa George is running out of time on set, and they got to wrap her up real quick. And so they're like, "All right, we're gonna have you guys come up with the guns. We're gonna have a shirtless Alex come up behind you, and he's gonna beat you with a rock a couple times, and then we're gonna have her tell you to stop." Like, what? Why? Like, no, like, this is absolutely, you kill the fuck out of him, and then the guy comes up with a gun. Janice Dickinson shows up, and you at least think like, oh fuck, like, give us something big here. And this reveal, though, I mean, it makes sense because I do not like the character Zamora. This seems just like such a lazy way to end the movie.
Yeah, because Jamoro does approach with his gun and he has it pointed at the group. And Zamora, even though he just got his head bashed by a 20-pound boulder, he's perfectly alert. He's like, kill the gringos. And Prue, with her Portuguese, is pleading with him to, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. And Zamora does the worst fucking possible thing. Why would you do this? If you can tell the guy, you see this man is hesitating. He's like, you better shoot them, you fucking stupid Indian coward. And that's all it takes. Because Jamora responds by fucking blowing his head off. So we don't even get, Roger, the satisfaction of one of our protagonists killing the villain. His old henchman does it.
I mean, like, it's, I guess, a cool development for the character of Jamora if I cared at all about what he was thinking and feeling. This character is the least of my concerns. All I've been looking at is his hair, but he doesn't have enough backstory explained to me for me to care about this revelation. Maybe if they would have dove a little bit deeper. There was a moment earlier when he got his foot injured where he and Zamora, and their names are so similar, it's throwing me off, um, got into an argument after killing Finn. They start fighting, and that's what makes it possible for Alex and Kiko to get away. So you're seeing, like, a lot of agitation between these characters, but why? Why is this guy being forced to work for him? That little scene earlier with him and that pass out floozy in the T-bar thong didn't explain anything for me, you know? I need to understand why he's been pushed to this point. And yes, I understand he just called you, like, a stupid, whatever he says, Indian piece of shit, something really offensive like that to him, but saying that line in that moment seems so out of place because you're right, it's such a stupid fucking idea for dude to say something critical of him when he's holding a gun and is considering shooting him. It just seems like, "Okay, we gotta kill the guy off, so have him say this so we can just get it over with." It doesn't seem like natural character motivation. It doesn't seem like you're getting this satisfying conclusion or wrapping up a story arc that you feel like you're really connected with. Like, it just seems like a lazy way to wrap up the
And
predicament, and nothing's really explained after this. Like, you don't even know if the cops come in. You don't know if this is all revealed and if it hits the media. This movie literally ends on this note and a really stupid scene they tag on after this, and that's it. And it feels so fucking disappointing. Like, what a letdown is this moment?
it's yeah, it's so anticlimactic, and yeah, how is Jamoro's just gonna trust that these kids aren't gonna go back and tell? Like, "Hey, this dude was part of a whole ring, and that's why you guys have dozens of missing people with no organs because this dude has been doing it with this guy that's been paying him." And I'm assuming, like, the whole motivation for Jamora doing this is money, so that he really doesn't have a strong bond with Zamora, which makes it easier for him to kill him. He's just been doing this for the money. And for some reason, right at the end, he grows a conscience. Again, even though he doesn't know if these kids are going to go tell, anybody. Once they get back to America or their home countries, I'm sure they're not going to not mention it. It's going to be like, what happened to Amy? Where's Amy? Well, funny story, her organs were harvested. I mean, come on. Like, we don't get anything. We don't get any resolution at all. No, we get the group getting out of the caves, running into some kids playing with their dad in the creek. They take them home, they feed them, and then this tacked on scene of them getting on a small. My ass would be in the embassy, like revealing what happened. But they're getting on some small little rinky-dink plane. There's a couple behind them arguing about why are we taking a plane? We should be seeing the country by bus. And Alex turns around and tells them, no, take the plane. And they board and the plane flies away. That's the end. That's what we get.
I mean, there needs to be a greater conclusion here for other dilemmas that they've been dealing with that are like just go like unsolved. Like, what about the whole issue of them hitting that kid and them being scared of the police? Like, who do they go to after this event to even seek help? Who helps them get back out of the jungle? Like, there's just all of these things here that need to happen that I don't buy just a jump, a time jump here. I need to understand how they fucking got to safety, and there are bodies that need to be retrieved. There's technically somebody who might still be alive. Liam is not dead, in my opinion. There needs to be some investigation into what is going on here. And that guy just turning off and walking into the night, fuck that. That guy would shoot these kids dead. Because, yeah, like you said, Troy, there's no way that they're not going to the police. This has to be explained. What are they just going to do? Just not mention him? No, I'd be like, that guy actively shot one of our friends in the head. Janice Dickinson executed Finn. He needs to pay for his crimes. Yes, he grew a conscience, but like they're not just going to let him off. So they throw in this really lazy scene with, and this pisses me off, Alex and B getting into the plane. You don't even get to see Prue again. You don't get to
Mm-mm.
see her. She doesn't get to have a final moment with Alex. You don't see if they decide to even keep in touch after this traumatic experience. You get nothing. And that I think is just a slap in the face to standout performer Melissa George, bad hair and all. Like, why wouldn't you give that some kind of wrap up, some conclusion? She made it through the whole film. Like, this ruins-esque final moment with those two kids standing in the river. It looked like a scene out of the ruins. It really just didn't didn't wrap things up nicely for me. There's definitely higher stakes, and there's no way that I would, after this whole experience, trust some guy coming out of the woods with a machete. I would start flipping my shit. I wouldn't trust anybody at this point. At least they get a meal though. That lovely Brazilian woman does make them a nice meal after everything they've gone through, and then they fly away.
Brazilian meats, hopefully. We love some Brazilian
Oh my
meats. Oh,
god. Pão de
Braz-
queijo, cheese
oh,
bread.
Brazilian steakhouses. We went to one here in Vegas. Remember
Oh
those?
my god, I think about it every
That was
day.
yummy.
I think about
I
it
know. It's
way more than I think about the movie Turistas, I'll tell you that much.
oh, Turistas. What a dud. What a dud of a film.
Yeah,
I do not enjoy this film at all.
yeah.
I would just say I don't think it's a horror movie. I think it was marketed as one to make some bank, but it's not. Um, it, there's just so much wrong with this film. I I don't know what else to say. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Turistas. I will never watch it again. Um, just that's all I can say. There's some pretty cinematography. The one scene of someone getting their organs actually removed is pretty well done, pretty effective, pretty cringy. But the movie as a whole is just to me, it's just it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's just doesn't work.
Well, and not to say I always trust Rotten Tomatoes because I certainly don't, but there's a reason it has a 19%, and a pretty low review score across the board, both fans and reviewers alike. Um, it definitely didn't hit, and I think the issues are just so glaring. You know, you may have a really beautiful location in Brazil, But when you're completely insulting the culture and the people that exist there, like, I don't want you to go to Brazil. Like, then keep it in the States. Write something for what you know, because you clearly do not understand Brazilian culture. And it really just seems like they're spitting in their face and they don't know how to handle these characters. There's not really a single character that comes out of this seeming like the true hero. Every character is flawed or poorly written, and the characters that do seem like they're starting to stand up and really take the mantle, specifically Prue, the writing just does not do her any favors by the time you get to the end of the film. So you don't care about anybody. So yeah, it's a really weird, just attempt to tackle the torture porn genre in a way that almost feels like a PG-13. If you would remove that big gory sequence with those organs being harvested, you would have a pretty tame, lame, quote unquote horror movie. So while it is a horror movie, because it does offer that one sequence, that's literally all it's bringing to the table. And I think for true fans of this subgenre, it's got to be one of the biggest disappointments for sure. I definitely am not a fan of this film either. I'd maybe watch it really drunk, especially with my partner, so he could tear it apart. But yeah, I just think it is an example of that kind of xenophobic. I hate that we keep saying that term, but just racist early 2000s take on, the culture that I just don't think lands today.
Yeah, and I do think it soured the whole torture porn genre, for better or worse. I mean, I don't know if you're a fan of torture porn, then you might be a little upset that this film probably ruined that subgenre. Yeah, I do think it did.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is not a good film. I don't enjoy this film. However, if there is a listener out there, any of you listeners out there that enjoy Turistas and think we're missing the mark, or there's something we're missing about this film that makes it special, please, please comment on our social media and let us know. Because I'm sure there has to be maybe people that like this film, right? I don't know. If you're out there, come out of the woodwork and let us know.
Yes, please do, and, like, you know, you're always entitled to have an opinion here at Dark Knight the Podcast. Please don't ever take it the wrong way if a movie doesn't rub Troy or I a certain, way that we're looking for it to. Sometimes we do leave with a sour opinion, but we can always talk about these things like adults. Opinions are welcome here at Dark Knight the Podcast, and we wanna hear yours, and we're gonna respect yours as well. And Troy, I'm certainly curious if I'm going to respect the opinion of the next film that we'll be covering for our next episode now that I'm in full mended mode.
I absolutely hope you do, Roger. It's going to be a seasonal film. It's January, Roger. I'm going to tell you, yesterday was the coldest day we've had in Las Vegas. I woke up and I looked at my weather app and it was 28 degrees. And
Oh,
I was like, "Oh my god, this is horrible." I moved to Vegas to get away from the cold and the freezing temperatures. And so I thought, "You know what? We just spent a mediocre time in Brazil.
okay.
So we are getting on a plane and we're traveling back to the United States
Oh,
to snowy Utah, I believe, or Colorado, one of the fucking 2. I don't know where this takes place. I'm just assuming it's one of the 2
okay.
because it's skiing. It's skiing. We are going to cover, and I don't know if you've seen this film. I've never mentioned this film to you. You've never mentioned it to me. We are covering the 2010 Adam Green film Frozen.
Wait, is this the when they're in the airlift
They are in the ski
or the
lift,
ski lift?
stuck on the ski.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I've seen this film.
Oh,
Oh, talk about a butt clenching good time.
ah,
Oh, my hands will never be the same. Oh, when you're talking about cold weather, I was thinking that Troy, your nipples must have been as perky as areolas were when we saw her at the beginning of this film. But this will be a one to bundle up for because goddamn, you know what? I hate I hate hot climates. But growing up in the Midwest, I can handle the cold, but there is something about being in the bitter cold for prolonged periods of time.
ugh.
I hate nothing more, and this film truly, truly terrifying, unlike any other film I've seen. It does something
Oh,
with the concept that no other film has pulled off, and, we're gonna have a good time with this one. You and me bundled up in a chairlift. Oh, with
some hot
s
chocolate with
oh, Lord.
spike with some Baileys. Oh, I
Matching,
can't wait.
uniforms,
Yeah, I just it
jumpsuits.
j it just seemed like the perfect time to cover Frozen. So
Yeah.
that'll be our next film, guys. If you've never seen Frozen, please watch it before our
Well,
episode because it deserves to be seen.
I have to say right now, and this is just, it feels like it's needed. I thought you were going to say a different film, but since you didn't say the other film, I never do this. I'm going to announce it back to back because I'm changing my game plan. After that, my next one, we're doing Shredder.
Oh,
We're doing
yes.
it. We're
Oh my
doing
God.
it.
There's a whole slew of them, Roger. There's Shredder, there's Iced, there's Cold Prey. Have you seen Cold Prey?
I'm
Cold Prey
not.
2.
No.
Oh my God. Okay. We're going to be on a winter kit, guys.
Woo!
Bundle up for these next few episodes.
God, chili. This ending, this last 5 minutes of this episode was more entertaining than the entire length of Turistas. I'll say that right now.
Shredder.
Yeah.
I love Shredder. I haven't
yeah.
seen that for so long. Okay. Yeah, look at us. We're on a roll now.
Planning ahead.
But planning ahead. We got it. But guys, again, thank you. We know it's been a few weeks, but we are back into the swing of things. Yeah. Happy 2026. We didn't even say Happy New Year to you listeners. Happy New Year.
We're going to have to record
Happy
something
2026. Yes. And we are starting out with a bang. So again, let us know your thoughts on Turistas. Join us next week for Frozen and Shredder after that. Wow. What a combo.
What a lineup. Look at us.
Look at us. But guys, thank you. Remember, 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Check out our Patreon, and we will be back next week.
Good night.
Good night.